Hi everyone, it's Julie from Sprouts and Stems here. I'm sitting on the floor right now because in today's video, I'm going to be putting this Philodendron Micans on a moss pole. And instead of getting my normal, just regular straight stackable moss pole that I like to use for my climbing plants, I decided to get a bendable moss pole. So I'm really excited for that, and we're gonna see how it works. And all right, let's get into it. So this is the moss pole that I got. I just got it from Amazon. There's Amazon has a bunch of them. I just got one that had the larger like height that I wanted because some of them are only like 1 or 2 feet, and once you bend it into whatever shapes you want to make it, it's going to make it a lot shorter. So I got 42 inches and I got two of them. So I'm thinking maybe like one on each side of the pot, each doing like a crazy bendy thing. I don't know. I have a vision. We'll see how it actually turns out. But yeah, sorry, I'm still getting over my cold from like almost 2 weeks ago now. So I just got this from Amazon and I will link to it in the description. Okay, box is open. They're already bent, so that's cool. I'm sorry if the bag is loud. I'm gonna try not to make too much noise. Okay, so I've got the poles open and I love how earthy they are. I know a lot of times moss poles are just brown, but sometimes they're like green and brown. But I love the earthy, more natural looking color. And oh my gosh, it could be like an exercise thing or something. So that's cool. Actually, you know what? Instead of twisting it into like a different shape, I might literally just keep them like that. Is that like crazy? But just so you know, if you get one of these, like they can be bent into like a curvy shape, like I've seen people do like spirals and stuff. But I actually kind of like that. Okay, maybe I'll just do two of them just like this. So yeah, there's two in the package that I got, and they both each came with like the standard just like twine that you can use to attach your plant to the pole. Oh, and one more thing before I start. So why would you use a moss pole or another support system for your plants in the first place? Well, you definitely don't have to. Like plants that climb naturally in the wild, like philodendrons, for example, they'll grow just fine, just hanging down from a table or basket like so. But think about it. I mean, plants that do climb naturally in the wild want to climb in your home too. It doesn't just change because they're now all of a sudden an indoor plant. They want to use their aerial roots to attach to things and climb. While they will be just fine either way, if you give them something to climb, such as a moss pole, it'll just lead to a happier plant and better growth overall. Okay, so I already decided to move from the floor to the counter just because it felt easier to have everything up at a higher level. I am going to take this and I'm just going to find two spots across from each other that don't look like they have a lot of roots nearby. Obviously I can't know for sure, but just like a more bare spot around the edge, like here maybe. And then I'll use a chopstick to kind of like shimmy down an initial hole that I can then put the moss pole in. This is what I have so far. Looks a little crazy, but I think it's going to be cool once I stake everything up, and then once it grows more, I think it's going to look really cool. I might play with the top a little bit more. I did have to kind of like bend it a little out of the shape that I originally wanted because it was pretty top heavy and I had to play with the weight distribution a little bit. So I'm back because I just figured this out. So what I did was I bent them back into the original shape basically that I wanted. And I leaned them just slightly to the opposite side that they were leaning in originally. And then I made sure to like pack in the soil tight on this side to kind of counteract or counterbalance or whatever. So then I did the opposite on the opposite side. You could see it's kind of leaning this way. So just a little tip. Wow. Okay. I did not realize how tangled everything was. So far I took out the longer vines and I just attached them at like the very end of each vine just to kind of get things out of the way a little bit and make it easier. And I kept it really loose because I know I'm probably going to have to untie and readjust. Also, I was very liberal with my twine usage. I have plenty of twine just like from other plant projects laying around. But this, I think there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces on here so far, and that made up one full bundle out of the 2 that they give you. And obviously I did cut these a lot longer than they needed to be, but just wanted to let you know if you're a liberal twine user, then you might need to get more. Or just have something else on hand to tie your plant to the pole. Okay, I think now I'm going to move on to the shorter vines at the bottom. Ugh, I love this color. I love this plant so much. I think I'm going to move on to the shorter vines at the bottom and get those all attached and then fix the longer vines. Or, I don't know. I don't know, guys. We'll play it by ear. Now, I do just want to mention, be gentle. I know it might, I'm not sure how it looks on camera, but I might look like I'm being really aggressive, but I really am taking extra special care to like not yank too hard or pull too hard on anything. Also, a lot of my vines have a weird kind of like V, like curved growth pattern right now because of what they were growing on before. So you don't want to like resist against that too much. It's okay to kind of bend them in the direction you need them to go a little bit, but for the most part, try your best to go with like the natural curve of the vine, and eventually they will readjust as they get used to growing on the moss pole. Wow, I did not think it was going to take me as long as it is currently taking me, but I've got one side done, and this was the thicker side with more growth, so this side shouldn't take as long. I did lose a leaf. I'm actually not sure where it came from, but it's a really pretty leaf, so I'm kind of sad about it, but that's okay. So I've got everything nice and secure, not like super tight so it's strangling the vines, but definitely nice and secure. I tried to make sure a lot of the aerial roots were actually in contact or in very close contact with the pole so that they can eventually attach and start climbing on its own. So I'm going to finish the other side, then just trim off like all these excess twine pieces, maybe try to do a little bit more untangling / adjusting of the leaves, but I don't want to mess with things too much. And yeah, so then I'll come back and show you the finished result. Okay, and that's it. This took longer than I thought. I didn't realize how tangled my plant was. it's not a difficult process. If you guys have never used a moss pole before, I don't want you to think it's some like hard thing. It just is time consuming depending on how large your plant is. But overall, I think this looks really cool and like major jungle vibes. It's a little droopy. I watered it a little bit before I started, but I'm gonna water it more now. So tomorrow it should be looking more perky, and over time it should get used to growing up the poles and look less like going in every single direction. So yeah, I'm really happy with these moss poles. Maybe I'll get more and use them for my other vining plants and have them go in all different directions. Like I originally wanted to do kind of like a spiral situation for this one, so maybe I'll do that for other plants. This needs to come off. I'll snip that off later. So that's it for today, everyone. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day.